They say General George Armstrong Custer died with honor, that he fought bravely to the very end at the Battle of the Little Bighorn. History books and military reports often portray him as a valiant commander, overwhelmed by impossible odds. But according to Northern Cheyenne oral history, the story is far more complex, and the figure who struck him down was not a soldier, nor even a man. She was a Northern Cheyenne woman named Buffalo Calf Road Woman. Her name, once nearly erased from the American record, has been preserved in the stories passed from elder to elder within her tribe. To understand why she was there on that battlefield, you have to go back a year earlier to the summer of 1876 during the Great Sioux War. The Lakota, the Northern Cheyenne, and their allies had been fighting to defend their homelands from U.S. expansion into the Black Hills, a region promised to them by treaty, but violated after gold was discovered. On June 17, 1876, at the Battle of the Rosebud, Buffalo Calf Road Woman rode into history. Her brother, comes in sight, had been shot and wounded in the fighting. As warriors clashed with soldiers under the command of General George Crook, she charged directly into the chaos on horseback. Under fire, she pulled her brother onto her horse and rode back to safety. That moment became legend among her people, and the Northern Cheyenne remember it as the battle where the girl saved her brother. But the U.S. Army did not see it as an act of bravery or heroism. To them, it was part of what they considered an uprising, a dangerous resistance that had to be crushed. Crook's forces pulled back after Rosebud, but the Army would return with reinforcements, determined to force the Plains tribes onto reservations. One of the officers they brought was the ambitious and controversial George Armstrong Custer, who commanded the 7th Cavalry. Custer had made his name during the Civil War and was known for his aggressive style, but he underestimated the resolve and numbers of the warriors he would face. By June 25, 1876, Custer had located what he believed was a small encampment along the Little Bighorn River in present-day Montana. He thought it was vulnerable. In reality, it was the largest gathering of Lakota, Northern Cheyenne, and Arapaho warriors in living memory. Among them was Buffalo Calf Road Woman. Like other women of the Northern Cheyenne, she was not simply a bystander. Women rode into battle alongside the men, carrying water, tending to the wounded, and at times taking up arms themselves. She had already proven herself in combat at Rosebud, and Little Bighorn would become her most famous stand. When Custer divided his forces to attack the encampment, he made a fatal mistake. He underestimated how quickly the warriors could respond. Thousands of Lakota and Cheyenne fighters swarmed the ridges and riverbanks, cutting off his men from escape. Buffalo Calf Road Woman rode among the warriors, navigating the chaos of gunfire, shouting, and pounding hooves. The air was thick with dust and smoke, and the river's banks echoed with war cries. According to Northern Cheyenne oral history, she was not a passive witness to the fight. She rode into the thick of the battle, close enough to see the panic on soldiers' faces as their lines collapsed. Custer and his men were surrounded on high ground, firing desperately in every direction. As the warriors closed in, the final moments of the 7th Cavalry turned into a storm of arrows and bullets. In those closing moments, Buffalo Calf Road Woman charged forward. In Cheyenne tradition, it is said that she struck the blow that knocked Custer from his horse, an act that symbolized justice for her family and her people. Her reasons were not driven by glory or personal fame. They were rooted in the deep grief and anger felt by the Northern Cheyenne after years of broken treaties, forced removals, and violence against their way of life. For her, the act was a stand for survival, a refusal to let her people's story end in defeat. When the battle was over, more than 200 soldiers lay dead, including Custer and every man under his direct command. In the days and years that followed, the United States painted the battle as a tragic last stand of a gallant officer. The role of Buffalo Calf Road Woman was ignored, her name left out of official reports. Within her community, however, the story was preserved and passed down as a point of pride and proof of the courage of Cheyenne women. Buffalo Calf Road Woman would live for only a few more years after Little Bighorn. In 1879, during a period of harsh conditions and confinement after her people were forced onto a reservation, she died from illness. But her story endured. Among the Cheyenne, she is remembered as a warrior who not only saved her brother in one battle, but helped to turn the tide in another that became legendary.